everyone and welcome another week to Young with Ram. You know, the video where I answer the questions you posted in the previous Young with Ram. This week we are having a new thing in the game, in the video, which is the game you are going to see in the background. It's not going to be War Thunder this week. It's going to be Wargame Airland Battle. I got it with a huge discount a couple of weeks ago, and this is one of my first online games, so don't expect miracles. I think I did more or less okay. So yeah, you will see that in the background as I'm answering questions. Why is this game being used instead of War Thunder? Well, because the achievements for the ground beta has totally destroyed historical battles. One day you will have, I don't know, kill whatever with German planes. Well, then you have the whole queue in German planes. Next day you have kill ground vehicles with a dildo. You have everyone with a dildo. It's impossible. I mean, it's you see retardation up to absurdity. I mean, in one of the first events when it was just killing ground vehicles, I would see BF-109Gs with bombs, and not one or two per team. I mean, half the team had bombs. It's kind of it's destroyed the fun for me. I'm not flying War Thunder until this event is gone. Well, I'm still playing it, of course. I play now and then, and I have fun, but it's for the most part it's really annoying. So instead of being annoyed by a game, I want to be entertained and amused. So in the meantime, while this fever of getting into the closed beta goes, I'm playing other games. I'm playing Hearthstone. I'm playing Wargame Airland Battle, which is a game I didn't think it was this good. I mean, a lot of people have suggested me to try it out, but really, I suck at micromanagement. I'm horrible at real-time strategy games, and I'm not good at this game either. Let's face it, I'm really terrible. But still, it's so fun that even when you get your ass kicked, it's great. So yeah, I'm going to play it a lot more, and probably I will do some videos about it. We'll see. I'm not good enough to make any kind of instructive videos about this game. I'm good at getting my ass kicked, so probably you will see videos of me being totally raped. But it's very fun. It's a really, really, really good game. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed it. This is a total destruction game, I think, in which I did pretty good, surprisingly good, given how bad I am. But yeah, whatever. Let's move on to the questions. First one is a very technical question. Hey Ram, can you explain the different types of propellers and their performance on the planes? Well, this is a very complicated matter, and it's actually one of the engineering parts of piston engine planes that I don't fully understand. I more or less know some things about them, how the shape of the propeller affects to the performance for a given horsepower, etc. But I don't think I know enough to put up a video about, I mean, explaining something I don't really know. Yeah, it's kind of a problem for me because I'm actually friends with an aeronautic engineer, and I should ask him about these things. Actually, her is a she, but whatever. The thing is, currently I don't know enough to put up a video about this. When I do, I will. But there are some limits to what I know, and this is one of them. Next question. Ram, is the Bearcat broken? Can you and will you do an F8F plane analysis? I will. I don't think the Bearcat is broken anymore. It was a couple patches ago. We had an insane energy retention at high speed it shouldn't have. Currently, it's underperforming. I don't think it turns the way it should, at least not with the instructor on. I don't know with real controls. It's kind of underwhelming. It's a very good performer in acceleration and climb rate, but I don't like it very much. But yeah, we'll do a plane analysis probably after the next patch hits the street. If you have noticed it, since maybe 1 month back, I have stopped making plane analysis. That's mostly because I'm waiting for the new one. There are a lot of new planes coming, but also some flight model fixes. So instead of doing some analysis that later have to be changed, I'd rather wait until the new patch comes. And probably then the F8F will be one of the first planes featured. We'll see. Next one. So Ram, will the J7W1 Shinden be absolutely silly once it is placed in the game? Actually, I don't know. The Shinden had really, well, had. I mean, it was a total prototype. It was more than of a paper plane than a real one. It was actually built, but the stated performance was very good. But the problem, I think, with that plane is how it will handle. I mean, it was a radical design. I don't think it worked very well in handling. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be ridiculous. I think it's going to be very good in performance, but well, not any more than other endgame piston engine fighters. Next question. And this is one that I will freely admit I don't know what the hell they are asking me. Ram, this is the most important question ever. Do you even hoist? What? I don't know. Someone translates that for me. I don't know. I don't really know. Yeah. Anyway. Next question. You this actually answered in the comment section. You also obviously fucked up in that first Focus Fan Any fight. He's speaking about the gameplay of the last Jam with Ram. You reversed it on that P63 at such a dumb moment. Why, Rami? Why? Brain fart? No, actually it was a calculated risk. If you see that game, you will see. Actually, what you can see that game is not from the start and the beginning. The beginning was me taking off, another 3 guys taking off, and a further 3 guys taking 2 minutes to spawn and take off. So by the time I was at 2,000 meters, the 3 guys who had taken off with me were hugging trees, and the guys who later climbed were behind me, just spawning at that time. So I knew from the very beginning that probably that game we were going to lose. And my plan was meet the guys up there and lure them down as you can, because these guys are all going to be at very low altitude. And my move there was basically trying to hook the P63 and 63 and force him down behind me. It was a calculated risk. I think I have enough mastery of the Focus Fan I need to avoid a P63 on my 6 for a good while until I can outdive him. It actually worked that way. The problem is that he broke off. The Spitfire also didn't follow, and the whole tactic, the whole hope I had, the only hope we had to win the game, didn't work. So no, wasn't a brain fart. Doesn't mean I don't have them, but that wasn't one of them. Next question. Ram, what are your thoughts on the P39 P63 series of planes? Are they broken like people say? Am I a douche for using them? No, I don't think you are a douche for using them. I have tried the P63C and the A10. Both of them fully upgraded. The P39 is trash. I mean, it's absolutely trash. At low altitudes, it's actually pretty decent, but at high altitude is hopeless. And you still have to climb to meet the enemy, so it's not a good plane. At least not for me. The P63 is a different matter. And actually was a different matter. I mean, the P39, the Era Cobra, was a very good fighter in what regards to aerodynamics and to the concept behind the plane. The problem is that the supercharger the engine had didn't didn't perform, basically. The Era Cobra was intended to be turbocharged, so it didn't have a very powerful supercharger. In the prototype stage, they took the turbocharger away, and what they got was a pretty much crap plane at altitudes over 3,000 meters. So that one is not broken at all, and it's actually pretty bad. The P63, I think it's okay. I think a lot of people are surprised by how good it is. But let's face it, the King Cobra was a pretty good plane. There's a lot of things people are going to say, but it never was used in the US Air Forces. Actually, that's true. I don't think the P63 should be in the US National Tree. It should be in the USSR National Tree, and as a regular plane, not as a premium, because they were the main users of the plane. In US hands, the King Cobra was used as a target plane mostly, not as a combat plane. But it was very good, and it is in War Thunder. Climbs very well, is pretty quick, accelerates pretty well. Is not bad at diving, but has a pretty low red line speed. It's a well-rounded plane, jack all of trades. I have flown it, not extensively, but I have flown it now and then, and I like it. I mean, it's a plane that is very easy to do well with, as long as, of course, you don't start doing stupid stuff. But still, the BF-109 outclimbs it, the Focus 190 outdives it. It's limited. It's very good, it's very well-rounded, but as all jacks of all trades, is not a specialist. So it's going to have problems versus planes that are more specialized than them. I don't think they are broken. I have heard people saying they are broken, but the problem is the plane was very good. The main thing with this plane is that it's hugely undertiered. It's a late 1944 plane. Should be level 12, 13, and it's level 9 and 11. So the problem is that they are undertiered, not that they are overperforming. And even at level 9, they are not exceptionally powerful. They are very good, but I don't think anyone is a douche for using that plane, to be honest. I see them a lot, and that's a little bit of a problem. They are starting to be a little bit spammed, but other than that, it's an okay plane. I don't have any problem with them. Next question. What does F and FR mean in Spitfire name? Well, this is an actually historical question, and actually a pretty nice one. Actually, it's not FR. In the game, we have an LF and an F Spitfire. And this is the kind of denominations the British used. The Americans, as you know, used the P for pursuit, fighters, and the B for bombers, A for attackers, and if they have a mix today, for instance, the FB 18 or the AF 18, actually, is the AF, for mixed roles. Okay, let's recap a little bit. The F in the name stands for fighter. So Spitfire F Mark 9, for instance, means it's a fighter, it's a Mark 9. Now, they had different subvariants for planes. So there were some Spitfires that were dedicated for photo recon. So those would be a Spitfire FR, Air for recon, Mark whatever it was. The 11 was Mark 11 was as a recon one, I think. Yeah. Anyway, there was also a PR, P for photo reconnaissance. Anyway, F is for fighter. In the game we have the LF and the F. And this is a distinction the British did in the Spitfire series. The Mark 9 was a widely built model. It was actually the most built Spitfire Mark. But of course, a 1942 Spitfire 9 was not the same as a 1945 Spitfire 9. There were a lot of differences, mostly in the engine, but also on the wings, etc. To accommodate for the different versions of the same Spitfire that were flying at the same time, because this happened, the British used a two-letter denomination. There was a Spitfire LF Mark 9, there was a Spitfire F Mark 9, and there was a Spitfire HF Mark 9. The L and the H were for low and high. The difference between them in the game, I'm going to enter into the game in a second, but historically, the LF variants were tuned, had engines that were tuned for low altitude performance. For instance, the Merlin 66, which had a supercharger which was tuned for low altitude performance. Then, excuse me. Then you had the F variants, which were the common, let's say, Spitfire. Not the common in most numbers. Actually, the most common Spitfire was the LF Mark 9, but the multi-role Spitfire, let's call it that way, the F Mark 9. The F Mark 9 had an engine that was rated for mid altitudes, so it was not specialized for low altitude. It was not specialized for high altitude. Usually, well, until 1943, the late part of 1943, the Spitfire F Mark 9 had a Merlin 61. Later on, they changed that for a Merlin 63. And finally, we had the Spitfire HF Mark 9. H is for high, so HF, high altitude fighter. This series had the Merlin 70, which was a Merlin with a supercharger tuned for excellent performance at up high, but of course at low altitude it wasn't that good. There were also other differences. The LF versions usually had clipped wings, because at low altitude losing a little bit of wing area wasn't a huge deal. Some of the HF variants had extended wingtips, so they added a little bit of wing area, which at high altitudes is very good. Not all of them, of course. There were LF variants with normal wings, and there were HF variants excuse me, with the normal wings as well. In the game, we have the LF Mark 9. The LF Mark 9 in the game has a Merlin 66, has the 150 octane fuel variant, which is a 1945 plane actually, but whatever, and its best performance is under 5,000 meters, more or less. Over that, kind of loses performance a little bit. Then we have the F Mark 9, which is a level 10. It's a lot before the LF variant. And that's for that has a Merlin 61. That's rated for mid altitudes. We could have a later Merlin 63 Spitfire F Mark 9. We'll see if it ever comes or not, and should be of course higher than tier 10, but whatever. But currently the one in the game has a Merlin 61. Then we have a Spitfire LF Mark 16, which is pretty much the same as the LF Mark 9, but the 150 octane fuel is not. I mean, it has the option, but it doesn't get the engine power of a full rated Merlin 66 with plus 25 boost. It's a bridge in between both. Actually, the LF16 and the LF9 were the same historically. They were exactly the same plane. There were no differences at all, except for the engine. The engine in the Merlin 16 was built by the Americans, by Packard. It was a backup plane because at one moment there was a little bit of concern in England about whether the Merlin production could keep up with all the planes that used them. So they used American engines to supplement their own production. And the problem is that the Americans did the same engine but with different tolerances. And spare parts were not interchangeable between Packard Merlin 266 and a Rolls-Royce Merlin 66, which were basically the same engine other than that. So in order to prevent logistical nightmares and problems with spare parts going to the squadrons that shouldn't have those spare parts, what they did was to create a totally new denomination for the Mark, so it was clear that that kind of plane had the American plane and the American engine, sorry. So the Merlin 16 was the same as the Merlin. The Spitfire 16 was the same as the Spitfire Mark 9, and the LF 16 was the same as the LF Mark 9. And in the game they are the same. The only thing is that the 190 octane fuel for the 16 doesn't give the performance of the 100 octane fuel, 150 octane fuel in the Spitfire 9 of level 13. I think pretty much answered that. So let's move on to the next question. What would you rather fight solo? 3 MiG-15s or 15 MiG-3s? In which plane I am? I mean, because if I'm in a Focus 590, I'd rather fight solo 15 MiG-3s than 3 MiG-15s. But if I am in a Cyber, probably I would fight 3 MiGs first, because the 15 MiG-3s are going to be almost impossible to kill them all. So yeah. Also, the Focus 180 can't keep up with a MiG-15, while a Saber more or less can, more or less. Next question. What do you think is the difference between the Focus 190 A5 and the A5U2? Well, it's not that I think the difference is what it is, it's that the difference is what it is. The U2 has two less cannons, is lighter as a result, and has the option to mount under wing gun pods, which I would never do. They are basically the same for any other particular reason. So that's the only difference. The A5U2 is a little bit lighter and has two less 20mm cannons, which are the MG-FFs. So losing them is not a big deal. So whatever. Next question. Thoughts on the Kia 61-1C? I unlocked it the other day, but I'm putting off flying it because of its performance. I know the armament is very good, but the stock rate of climb is 8 meters per second. Also, why is your opinion on stock? What I guess is what? What's your opinion on stock aircraft and how to green them? I don't remember the Kia 61 stock being that bad. 8 meters per second is too low. For sure, it doesn't climb as good as with all the unlocks, but no, it's not that bad. Anyway, I think it's a very good plane. And the reason for that is that currently it's the only Japanese plane that is able to boom and zoom pretty well. I mean, it has a very high redline speed, dives very well, not bad at zooming, and maneuvers very well at high speed. So besides turning really well, which it still does, the K61 is a heck of a turner, it has everything the Zero doesn't have. It's not as good as turning as a Zero, still outturns almost anything it finds, and it can dive and zoom, which is huge for a Japanese plane. I don't know. I haven't flown the 1C version of the Ki-61 that much. I have flown it now and then, but every time I did very well with it. It's a very capable plane. It's slow. It is slow. That I will give you. But still, actually, with all the unlocks, it climbs much better than what it should. So without the unlocks, of course, won't be the case. But I don't think it's as bad as you say, 8 meters per second. If you are measuring that by the hangar performance stats, don't. I mean, the performance stats you see in the hangar are still bad, and they still don't represent the actual performance of the planes in the game. So just don't look at that. Just climb at the best speed you can. 250 is very good for a Ki-61, and certainly you will climb much better than 8 meters per second. As for what I think about the stock aircraft and how to green them, well, I think it's a added challenge. I don't care. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people hate it. I personally don't. And I have greened a lot of planes from the LA5s, the Focus 190 A5. I had to green when it was introduced. New planes I have to angular. The only problem with that is on the high-end planes, because those really require a lot of XP to get the unlocks. But up to level 13 or so, it's not a huge deal. At least I don't find it as such. I mean, you have seen me flying the P47 a lot. in this channel, the D28. And the D28, in all of the videos you see, it wasn't fully experienced. I didn't have all the unlocks for them, and in most cases I was lacking maybe half of them. So the planes still can do really well without the unlocks. Of course, they won't do as good as with all of them, but I don't really mind. Really, I don't think it's a huge issue. How to green them? Don't mind them. Just fly the plane for fun, and learn it. Because if you learn to excel in a plane when it doesn't have its top performance, when you unlock everything, you are going to be a demon on it. So I think it's not as bad as people say. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. It's my opinion. I don't feel it's that big of a deal, but it's my personal opinion. Next question. This is actually a pretty long question, and I'm going to answer well the actual question because he's explaining nothing and a situation. Ram, do you think that they should add blind spots in historical battles so that cockpit visibility becomes a factor? This would make it much easier to sneak up and kill enemies, and also would make it easier for you to be killed. I personally think that Gaijin should make a different historical battles for joystick users only, and restricted to cockpit view. And that will solve it. Because how do you add a blind spot in a 3D view? I mean, you are in a 3-person view, you are looking around your plane actually. There are not going to be any blind spots, let's face it. So I think historical battles with cockpits only enabled and only joystick, of course, would be a great addition and would help finally separate the problems of many people who complain about being shot down by people with mouse aim, and mouse aimers complaining about the joystick users being able to maneuver much more precisely. So I actually think there should be a different game mode. I don't think in the historical battles as we have it now with keyboard and mouse and 3-person view, you should add some kind of blind spot because it's not going to work. Let's face it. I mean, it's a 3-person view for a reason. But I do think there should be a middle ground between full blind battles and historical battles, where cockpit was enforced. And yes, that would add a lot to the flavor of the game and would make a lot of tactics that work in real life work better because visibility would be a huge factor there. So yeah, next question. Ram, during an event, a teammate refused to take my advice and climb in our P40s because he said it lacked a supercharger and it was pointed to be at high altitude. Should I just stop trying to fix the stupid sometimes? By the way, any good tips for correcting the problem with router authority? Thanks for the bits. Well, thank you for watching them. First of all, whoever said that is an idiot. The P40 had a supercharger. Of course it had. Even the P39 had a supercharger. The problem was it was rated for very low altitude. The same with the P40. It was a supercharger that didn't perform at high altitude, but it had a supercharger. So first of all, the guy is an absolute idiot. A brainless retard who has seen a lot of dogfights and thinks he knows everything. But he hasn't, obviously. Should you stop trying to fix the stupid? I have repeat that to myself a lot of times. I should stop trying telling people what they should do. Because they are not going to. I mean, whoever is a retard is going to be a retard no matter what you say. But now and then you get surprised because not everyone who's not climbing is an idiot. There are a lot of people who are new to the game and they don't know better. So if you tell them climb, they will ask why. And then you can answer, well, because the higher you are, the higher chances to live and to kill enemies. And then they will climb. But if you find a retard who says that the P40 didn't have a supercharger, just forget about that guy. I mean, the guy is an idiot, and that's all. I mean, and he's an idiot not because he doesn't know, but because he thinks he does when he doesn't. So yeah, leave those guys alone because they are never ever going to listen to you, and they are going to come back to you with idiot remarks like the P40 didn't have a supercharger. What the hell? What was that thing behind the engine? Between the engine and the firewall, there was a supercharger. What was that? An ice cream maker? Oh shit, people. But a lot of people don't claim because they don't know better. So just keep on trying. If you spot they are focused on being idiots, yeah, forget about them. But if they ask why or they say but, because a lot of times they say, but we are not going to be able to climb as much as them. Well, so? I mean, if you are not going to be able to climb as much as them, still it's better to be at 4,000 meters than at 1,000 meters. At 4,000 meters you stand a fighting chance. At 1,000 you don't. So you can reason with those. With your standard retard who answers "fuck you noob, I'm going to play the game away." Don't bother with those. But yeah, I have asked myself a lot of times about that as well. Another question from the same guy as well, Missouri Aviator. Other than the issue with climb rate, do you think the Zeros take too much damage, and do you think that they retain energy a tiny bit too well? I think they actually stand a lot more damage than what they should. Yes, and it's insane that when they go on fire, they don't burn to death, which was the trademark for the Zeros up to the very late series when they started putting some self-sealing fuel tanks on them. I do think they take a lot of damage. Yeah, much more than what they should, indeed. As for them keeping energy a tiny bit too well, you have to understand something that in a turn, when you are turning your plane, the lighter your plane is, the lower inertia it has. So it has to lose less energy beating the tendency of the plane to go straight. You need less angles of attack, you get less induced drag. In other words, you don't slow down as much. So I don't think their energy retention in turning is too good. I think it's okay, because they are very light planes with very light wing loadings, and in a turn they are going to keep speed better than other planes that are heavier and have to beat that tendency of the plane to go straight in order to get into a turn. They will have to pull more angle of attacks for the same Gs, they will have higher induced drags, and they will slow down faster. So in that sense I think the Zeros are okay. But yeah, I think they stand too much damage and then they don't burn to death while they should. So, next question. Ram, do you ever watch Japanese animations? If you do, please tell us what you liked and the most recent one you have watched or watching. I actually am not a huge fan of anime, but I have seen some series, of course. The one I recall with a smile in my face always is Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Zeta. Well, at the end it was a little bit too much. I mean, and I didn't like Dragon Ball GT at all. But Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z until I would say the Freezer battle when Goku turns into a Super Saiyan, that was epic. That was an epic series. Afterwards, it was cool until the Cell saga, but the whole Majin Buu thing was a total waste of time. But yeah, and that is my favorite anime. As for others, the last one I saw, it was how it was called, Life Note or Note of Life. Hold on a second, I'm going to check it. There you go, Death Note. I knew it was something like that. Of course, I saw it in Spanish, so I didn't know the actual name in English. It is anime where one boy is given a book, and the name he reads in that book the guy whose name is dies in some strange ways. It's actually a little bit too far-fetched, but it was a very entertaining series to watch. I like it quite a lot. And favorite, other than Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball is always going to be my favorite because it was when I was a teenager, and you always remember those things with a smile in your face. But favorite manga, Bleach. Bleach. I have seen it all, and I love it. I love it, especially the first history arc, the Soul Society, where they go to rescue Rukia. Oh, it's great, great. I also like how full of humor it is. I simply love it. As for the rest, well, I have seen some here and then, but never got hooked into any other manga or anime. But now and then I get into some one of them, and I watch the whole anime, and yeah, it's cool. So yep, that's it for this question. For that question, next one. Ram, you're young with Ram in Monday. Videos always come on very late Monday night, yet Tuesday. You're making it every. You're making it easy for me to bring out the lazy Spaniards joke here. No, actually, the problem is that Mondays usually have my morning full, and then I have to make this video, and then I have to render it, and then I have to upload it. Keeping in mind that rendering this video is going to take more or less along the lines of 1 hour, and that the upload is going to be between 5 or 6 hours, you will guess why these videos come up Tuesday, very early on Tuesday, very late in the morning, in the Monday, Tuesday nights. It's not that I'm lazy, it's that, I mean, upload speeds are what they are. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything to fix it. So that's the reason. I actually could change it and make it in Sunday, so it goes on during Monday. But I actually like to do this on Monday. It's kind of a time schedule on Monday, done with RAM. So well, we'll see. So far it's working, so why change it? But it's not because I'm lazy. It's because, as I said, Monday mornings I am full. I have a lot of stuff to do, and afterwards it just depends on how much it takes. First, on making the video. Second, on editing it. Third, on rendering it. And finally, on putting it up. So, blame YouTube, blame my connection, blame my ISP, but I'm not the one to blame here. Next one. Two questions. When talking about most broken planes in the game, you mentioned the G10 which claims well, but you didn't mention the F4 and G2 which seems to be the exactly same case. What's the difference? Well, first of all, the F4 doesn't outclimb that much, the historical one. And the G2 is a 1.42 ATA version. Most performance charts you are going to see about the focus run in G2 is with a 1.3 ATA version. And even with 1.3 manifold pressure, the Finnish achieved almost 24 meters per second climb rate in a non-standard climb rate test. They were going too fast in the climb, and they didn't open their radiator flaps. But that goes on to prove that the plane actually could climb that fast. The problem with the G10 is not that it climbs much more than what it should or not. Let's face it, 99% of the planes in the game right now climb better than what they should. All of them. The problem is that the G10 has some serious energy retention issues that the G2 doesn't have, the F4 doesn't have. They all dive too well. All BF109s dive too good. But that's probably because compression is still not in the game. And also happens with a lot of other planes, so it's not privative to them. The G10 is a special case not because it outperforms widely the historical one, which does, but because it has some I mean, even in real controls, it's impossible to make the plane stall. Um, and has some energy retention issues. Indeed, I mean, I'm positive about that. I have tried it, and I don't think it should keep the energy the way it should, the way it does. So that's why I named the G10 as a name for a broken plane, while the G2 and the F4 I don't. Second, in the clip where you fly the Emil, you cut your throttle to 0 for some significant amounts of time, most notably in a dive. What's the reason for that? Well, I don't know exactly which video did you see, because I have a lot of F8F videos put up. When I dive at 0 throttle is because I'm attacking on an enemy and I don't want to overspeed my plane. Maybe because of that. Might be because I have someone in my 6 and I want to force him to overshoot. And if I'm pointing my nose up down and I cut my throttle, I can slow down, while if the other guy doesn't do so, he's going to accelerate past me. I might do so because I'm trying to turn fight versus some other guy and I'm over my corner speed. Throttling back helps me bleeding the extra speed over my corner speed so I can turn the best. There are many reasons why you want to chop throttle now and then. The thing is not doing it without a brain. You have to have a good reason to do so. I don't know exactly which video you are referring to, so I don't know exactly which is the case in the video you saw. But those are some cases of why you want to chop throttle now and then. In a dive, not to overspeed. In a dive, to force an overshoot. In a turn fight, if you are way too fast and you want to slow down to bring your plane into corner speed. Those are some instances of that. Next question. Ram, are you looking forward to some of the newer World War II studio sims that are currently being made, such as EL2 BOS and DCS World War II? Do you think they might one day tempt you away from War Thunder? No. IL2 BOS has the IL2 brand, and IL2 I already wasted my money on 4 of them, and I'm not going to repeat it. Even while the designers are different, but the brand is the same, the publisher is the same, and those guys cheated me enough, so not anymore. As for the DCS World War II, the problem with DCS World War II is that it has Oleg Maddox in the team, and Oleg Maddox was the guy who created IL2, so you can see the pattern there. No, I already bought Oleg Maddox products before, and I wasn't satisfied by them. I think I was cheated by what he offered, which wasn't what he actually was selling. So I'm not going to try DCS World War II just because his name is attached to the project. So I don't think they are going to tempt me away from War Thunder anytime soon. Not at all. Next question. Ram, which are your thoughts on the 3 weeks of daily challenge to gain a possible pass to join in on the closed beta for Clone Forces in War Thunder? Well, you already heard what I think. I think it's terrible. Because everyone is going to try to get those challenges done, even past and beyond the point of winning battles. They don't care about winning battles. All they care is about their challenge and to get their little chances to get into the closed beta. And it's destroying the gameplay in historical battles. At least for me. So I don't like it at all. As simple as that. Next one. Hey Ram, I'm about to reach level 16 in German 3, so I want to know, does the TA152 have the proper flight model? At very high altitudes it doesn't, but it's at very high altitudes. We are speaking 8,000 meters here. Below that, the thing is a Terminator. It's a brutal boom and summer. If you like the Focus 190 and if you do good with them, you are going to love the TA152 even while it's not fully unlocked. With all the unlocks, the thing is a freaking monster. Boom and zooming monster. It's not the best climber, which again goes to prove that climb rate is not everything in this game. It has a huge dive. It has an amazing zoom. It has powerful hard-hitting weapons. It's surprisingly nimble. I love it. For me, it's the best boom assumer in the game. The only problem is that it sees a lot of jets. That's the only problem. Level 16, you are going to face a lot of jets in that plane. But even so, if I'm going to be in a piston engine plane and I know I'm going to find jets, I'd rather be in a TA-152 than in any other piston engine plane. Because simply, it dives and zooms so well, you can surprise more than one jet with it. It's an exceptional plane. You're going to love it. If you like the Focus 190, if you like the BF-109 more, probably you won't like it as much. There's kind of two paths in the German tree, the BF-109 and the Focus 190. Some people like the BF-109 better, some people like the Focus 190 better. For me, it's the Focus 190. I mean, it's obviously, for me, it's obviously the better plane. But people might disagree. So, yep, that's going to be it for this video and this week. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your questions. Remember to put them down in the comment section below. And also upvote those questions you want to see answered the most. And yeah, well, let me know what you think about the gameplay. If you want to see more of this. I don't know. Each time I have tried to put up something of other game that is not War Thunder, people don't watch it. But well, I don't know. Maybe just for the sake of it, I will put it up. I don't know. Yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, see you later.